Max, Lily, and Sam had faced many perils in their travels, but nothing could have prepared them for the mysterious island of Katabam. The island lay deep within the shimmering Emerald Sea, hidden beneath layers of mist and myth. Few dared to venture near it, for it was said to be ruled by the evil wizard Elom, who held the land in a terrible grasp of dark magic. And somewhere within the depths of that jungle island, the princess of a far-off kingdom was said to be imprisoned. Their journey began aboard a small weathered boat, with the misty outline of Katabam barely visible on the horizon. Max, ever the brave knight, gripped the edge of the boat, his eyes scanning the dense jungle in the distance. "This place is dangerous," he muttered, tightening the strap of his sword. "Elom's magic is powerful. We must be cautious." Lily, the clever wizard, nodded. Her staff glowed faintly as she ran her hand over its smooth surface. "Elom's magic is ancient," she said, her voice thoughtful. "I can feel the darkness emanating from the island, but magic is only as strong as its wielder. If we can find a way to disrupt it, we'll have a chance." Sam, the fearless archer, sat at the bow of the boat, his eyes scanning the waters ahead. "A chance is all we need," he said, pulling an arrow from his quiver and inspecting the tip. "But the jungle will be treacherous, filled with traps and creatures under Elom's control. Stay sharp." The boat drifted toward the shore, where towering trees with twisted, gnarled roots greeted them. The island pulsed with a strange, eerie energy. Vines as thick as arms hung from the treetops, and the air was filled with the buzzing of unseen creatures. The jungle was alive, as if the very land watched their every move. The trio stepped cautiously onto the sandy beach, their boots sinking into the soft earth. "Where do we start?" Max asked, glancing at the dense trees that loomed ahead like a wall of green. Lily closed her eyes and reached out with her magic. "There's a magical barrier surrounding the island," she said softly. "It's meant to confuse intruders, keep them lost forever. But if we follow the flow of magic, we can find the right path." Sam smirked. "Leave it to Elom to turn a jungle into a maze." They entered the jungle, and immediately the oppressive feeling of the place fell over them. The thick canopy overhead blocked out most of the sunlight, casting the jungle in an eerie green twilight. Strange sounds echoed through the trees, creatures rustling in the undergrowth, distant calls from unseen birds, and the occasional growl of something far more dangerous. Hours passed as they made their way deeper into the jungle. Max led the way, sword in hand, ready for any threat. Sam scouted ahead, moving silently through the undergrowth, his sharp eyes and ears catching every rustle, every sign of movement. Lily, with her staff glowing softly, guided them along the paths that would not lead them astray. But Katabam was not a passive jungle. As they journeyed further, the trees seemed to close in on them, the vines reaching out like grasping hands. "Watch out!" Max shouted as a vine shot toward them, moving like a snake. He slashed at it with his sword, cutting it away. "They're enchanted," Lily said, raising her staff. "They won't stop unless we sever Elom's magic." She thrust her staff into the ground, and a pulse of golden light spread through the earth. The vines recoiled, slithering back into the shadows. "This place is a death trap," Sam muttered, scanning the trees. "Elom's watching us, I can feel it." They continued deeper until they came upon a river, a wide, slow-moving current that glittered with strange, glowing flowers floating atop the water. But the river was not just an obstacle. As they watched, the waters rippled, and a massive creature rose from the depths, a serpent-like guardian with scales that shimmered like jewels. "Looks like we're not welcome here," Max said, raising his sword. The serpent hissed, its long body coiling around the riverbank. Its eyes glowed with a malicious light. Lily stepped forward. "We don't have to fight this creature," she said, her voice calm. "It's a guardian bound by Elom's magic. If I can disrupt that magic..." As she spoke, the serpent lunged, its massive jaws snapping toward them. Max blocked the attack with his shield, and Sam fired an arrow into the creature's side, but the serpent barely flinched. "Hurry, Lily!" Max shouted, struggling to hold back the creature's strength. Lily knelt by the riverbank, dipping her staff into the water. She murmured a spell, her magic flowing into the river. The water glowed brightly and the serpent reared back, hissing in pain. "Elam's grip on the jungle is weakening," she said, her voice strained. "But it's not enough. We need to reach his tower." With the serpent stunned, they crossed the river and pressed onward. The jungle grew darker, the trees twisting into unnatural shapes. The air grew colder, and soon they found themselves standing before the ancient tower of Elam. The tower was a jagged black spire that rose from the heart of the jungle, surrounded by a moat of swirling fog. Dark energy crackled around it, and the very ground seemed to hum with magic. "Elam's inside," Sam said, readying his bow, "but so is the princess." Max clenched his fist. "We end this now." They crossed the foggy moat and entered the tower. Inside, the air was thick with magic, dark, oppressive magic that weighed down on them. The walls were lined with ancient runes, and the sound of crackling energy echoed through the halls. At the heart of the tower, they found Elam. The evil wizard stood at the center of a grand chamber, his dark robes billowing around him as he raised his hands in a gesture of power. The princess, bound in magical chains, stood beside him, her eyes wide with fear. "So," Elam sneered, his voice dripping with malice, "the heroes finally arrive, but you are too late. The princess belongs to me, and soon her power will be mine." Max stepped forward, his sword raised. "We'll see about that." The battle began in a blur of magic and steel. Elam summoned dark shadows to fight for him, creatures of nightmare that clawed at the trio with sharp talons. Max swung his sword with precision, cutting down the shadows, while Sam fired arrows at Elam, keeping the wizard off balance. Lily, her staff glowing brighter than ever, focused her magic on Elam's barrier. The wizard's power was immense, but Lily's magic was fueled by something stronger, her desire to save the princess, to end the evil that had plagued the island. "You cannot defeat me!" Elam roared, sending a wave of dark energy toward them. Max blocked it with his shield, but the force of the attack knocked him back. Lily, undeterred, raised her staff. "Elam, your reign of terror ends now!" With a final burst of golden light, Lily shattered Elam's magical barrier. The wizard screamed in fury as his power began to unravel. Sam, seeing his chance, fired one last arrow, striking Elam in the heart. The dark wizard collapsed, his form dissolving into shadows. The magical chains holding the princess vanished, and the tower, once filled with dark magic, began to crumble. Max, Lily, and Sam rushed to the princess's side. "Thank you," she said, her voice filled with relief. "You have saved me, and the island." As they exited the collapsing tower, the jungle around them began to change. The dark vines withered away, and the once twisted trees straightened, their leaves glowing with new life. The sun broke through the clouds, bathing the island in warm golden light. Katabam was free. The trio stood together at the edge of the jungle, watching as the island came alive with magic, this time a magic of life and light. "We did it," Max said, his voice filled with quiet satisfaction. Lily smiled, her staff glowing faintly. "But this is only one victory. There are more adventures ahead," Sam grinned, slinging his bow over his shoulder. "I wouldn't have it any other way." Together they turned toward the horizon, the promise of new adventures waiting just beyond the sea. The magical jungle of Katabam had been conquered, but for Max, Lily, and Sam, the journey was far from over. If you enjoyed this story, please give us a follow and a like, and stay tuned for more adventures.